Ever feel like life's throwing punches, job loss, heartbreak, or a diagnosis that stops you cold, and you're just trying to keep your head above water? What if you could face those hits with a calm, unbreakable strength? Stoicism, the ancient philosophy of warriors like Marcus Aurelius and modern titans like Jocko Willink, isn't just old wisdom, it's a battle-tested toolkit for navigating today's chaos. In this video, we're diving into 7 Stoic tools to help you conquer setbacks, find peace, and take control of your life. Stick with us to learn simple, practical steps you can start today to shape your own path. Subscribe, hit that bell, and let's build resilience together, because you've got the power to rise above. 1. Practice rational observation. Life's a battlefield, and not the kind with neat lines and clear enemies. It's messy, full of ambushes like a sudden layoff, a diagnosis that hits like a grenade, or the quiet ache of losing someone you love. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, knew this chaos well. He wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That's not just philosophy, it's a lifeline when the world feels like it's crumbling. Take a guy like Jocko Willink, a Navy SEAL turned leadership guru. He talks about discipline equals freedom, echoing Seneca's idea that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. When you lose your job, it's easy to spiral, imagining every worst-case scenario. But what if you step back like Jocko on a mission and assess the terrain? What's actually in your control? You can't undo the layoff, but you can polish your resume, hit up your network, or learn a new skill. That's Stoicism in action, focusing on what you can do, not what's been done to you. Try this. Next time you're blindsided by bad news, grab a pen, draw a line down a page. On one side, list what's out of your control, your boss's decision, the economy. On the other, list what you can control, your effort, your attitude, your next step. Then act on that second list. It's not sexy, but it's powerful. What's one thing you can do today to take back control when life feels like a storm? Now let's talk about pain, physical or emotional. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you but how you react to it that matters." I think of Dr. Edith Eger, a Holocaust survivor and psychologist, who turned her trauma into a mission to help others heal. When she lost her family in Auschwitz, she could have let grief consume her. Instead, she chose to see suffering as a teacher. If you're battling illness or mourning a loss, Stoicism doesn't ask you to ignore the pain. It asks you to face it like a fire you can walk through. The flames don't define you, how you move through them does. Try this. When grief or fear hits, set a timer for 5 minutes. Let yourself feel it fully, don't suppress it. Then when the timer dings, ask, what's one small thing I can do to honor this pain and keep moving? Maybe it's writing a letter to someone you lost or taking a walk to clear your head. Small steps build resilience. What's a small step you can take to face your fire today? The Stoics saw life as a constant wind, change that never stops blowing. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The universe is change, our life is what our thoughts make it." Young Americans especially feel this wind, the pressure to hustle, to build a career, to make it in a world that shifts faster than a TikTok trend. Look at someone like Sarah Blakely, who built Spanx from nothing. She failed, got rejected, but kept her focus on what she could control, her persistence, her creativity. That's Stoic as hell. When you're young and the world feels like it's moving too fast, ask yourself, what's the one thing I can anchor myself to today? Maybe it's a daily habit like journaling what you're grateful for, or a single goal like finishing one project. Write it down, stick to it, and watch how it grounds you. What's your anchor in this wind of change? Failure's another beast. It's not just losing a job or a deal, it's that gut punch feeling of not being enough. Seneca nailed it. What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears. But he didn't mean wallow. He meant accept it and move forward. Take a guy like Steve Jobs, fired from his own company. He could have quit, but he used that failure as fuel, coming back to build Apple into a juggernaut. When you fail, don't just sit in the ashes. Ask, what's this teaching me? If you bombed a presentation, don't hide. Rehearse harder, get feedback, try again. Write down one lesson every failure teaches you. It's like collecting weapons for the next battle. What's a failure you're carrying, and what's one lesson it's trying to teach you? Finally, let's talk about finding peace when the world's screaming at you. Epictetus said, "You become what you give your attention to." In our hyper-connected world, your attention's being hijacked. Notifications, news, drama. The Stoics would tell you to guard your mind like a fortress. I think of Tim Ferriss, who preaches ruthless prioritization. If you're overwhelmed, try this. For one day, cut out one distraction. Maybe it's social media, maybe it's that one friend who's always venting. Replace it with something that feeds your soul. A walk, a book, or just sitting still for 10 minutes asking, what do I really want from today? You'll be amazed how much clarity you find. What's one distraction you can ditch to reclaim your peace? Stoicism isn't about being cold or detached. It's about living fully in the mess of life with courage and clarity. It's seeing the battlefield, feeling the fire, riding the wind, and still choosing to act with purpose. Every day you get to decide, will you let life happen to you or will you shape it? 2. Examine their intentions through dichotomy of control. Life's a river, sometimes calm, sometimes a raging torrent that sweeps you off your feet. The Stoics, like Seneca, understood this flow. He said, fate leads the willing and drags along the reluctant. When you're hit with a crisis, a parent's illness, a career setback, or the hollow sting of betrayal, the current feels overwhelming. But Stoicism teaches you to swim with the river, not fight it. Focus on what you can steer, your thoughts, your actions, your perspective. Take Angela Duckworth, the psychologist who wrote Grit. She talks about perseverance through passion, a modern echo of Epictetus's, you become what you give your attention to. When you're staring down a chronic illness, you can't control the diagnosis, but you can control how you show up for it. Maybe it's researching treatment options, sticking to a routine, or just choosing to smile at your doctor. I knew a guy, a veteran named Mike, who lost his leg in combat. He could have drowned in self-pity, but he chose to focus on what he could do, training for the Paralympics, mentoring other vets. That's the dichotomy of control and action. Try this. When you're facing a health crisis, write down one thing you can do today to care for yourself, even if it's just drinking more water or calling a friend. Small choices compound. What's one choice you can make to swim with your river today? Now think about relationships, where so many of us get stuck. Marcus Aurelius wrote, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. But what about when others don't play by those rules? Maybe your sibling keeps canceling plans or your partner's jokes feel like knives. The Stoics would tell you to examine their intentions through the lens of what you control. You can't make your sibling show up or force your partner to be kind, but you can decide how much you'll let it weigh you down. Look at someone like Brené Brown, who preaches vulnerability with courage. She'd say to have the tough conversation, calmly, directly. Ask, when you cancel, it feels like I'm not a priority. What's going on? Then listen, but don't cling to their response. Your peace doesn't depend on their answer. It depends on your clarity. Try this. Next time someone's behavior hurts, take 10 seconds to breathe and ask, what's in my control here? Maybe it's setting a boundary or letting go of expectations. What's one boundary you can set to protect your peace? Failure in your career can feel like a wildfire, burning through your confidence. Epictetus said, there is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. Think of Elon Musk, who faced near bankruptcy with Tesla and SpaceX. He didn't control the market or the critics, but he controlled his work ethic, his vision. When you get passed over for a promotion or your startup tanks, the Stoic move is to zoom in on what's yours. Your skills, your effort, your next pitch. Don't waste energy cursing the boss or the economy. Instead, try this. After a setback, spend 5 minutes listing what went wrong and one thing you can improve next time. Maybe it's practicing your pitch or taking a course. That's how you turn ashes into kindling for the next fire. What's one skill you can sharpen to rebuild after a failure? Grief is a shadow that follows you, sometimes fading, sometimes swallowing you whole. Seneca wrote, no man was ever wise by chance. Wisdom in grief means choosing how you carry it. Consider Joan Didion, who chronicled her loss in the year of magical thinking. She didn't pretend the pain wasn't there. She faced it, wrote through it, and found meaning. When you lose someone, Stoicism doesn't say, get over it. It says, feel it but don't let it define you. Try this. Set aside 10 minutes to honor your loss. Write a memory, light a candle, or just sit with it. Then ask, how can I live in a way that honors them? Maybe it's being kinder, pursuing a dream they believed in. What's one way you can honor someone you've lost today? In a world that's always screaming for your attention, bills, news, social media, Stoicism is your anchor. Marcus Aurelius said, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Look at someone like Cal Newport, who champions deep work. He'd tell you to carve out space for what matters. If you're overwhelmed, try this. Pick 1 hour this week to go distraction-free. No phone, no noise. Use it to reflect. What's driving my stress? What's one thing I can let go of? That hour might show you what you're chasing isn't what you need. What's one thing you can let go of to find clarity? Stoicism isn't about numbing yourself to life's highs and lows. It's about choosing how you navigate them. It's standing in the river, feeling the current, and deciding which way to swim. Every choice you make shapes who you become. 3. Look for inconsistent virtues. Life's like a forge, hot, unyielding, shaping you through pressure and heat. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, knew this well. The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing. When the world throws you into the fire, whether it's a crushing diagnosis, a career that's gone off the rails, or the gut-wrenching loss of someone you love, Stoicism offers a way to stand firm. It's not about dodging the flames but learning to craft something stronger from them. Let's talk about spotting inconsistent virtues, a tool straight from the Stoic playbook. Seneca said, "No man can live a happy life without striving for what is good." The Stoics pinned that goodness to 4 virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. When someone's actions don't match these, it's a signal, whether it's a friend, a colleague, or even yourself. Take wisdom. If your mentor always preaches, think long-term, but panics over every market dip, their wisdom's shaky. Or justice, someone who cheers your success to your face but undermines you in group chats lacks it. I think of General James Mattis, who said, "You are remembered for the rules you break." He meant the rules of cowardice or selfishness, not integrity. If your boss takes credit for your work, that's not just unfair, it's a betrayal of justice. Try this. For one day, observe someone close to you. Do their actions reflect fairness or courage? If not, ask, how can I protect my energy around them? Maybe it's calling them out calmly or limiting their access to you. What's one inconsistent virtue you've noticed in someone lately, and how can you respond? Now let's ground this in the real stuff, facing a health scare. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." When the doctor's news lands like a sledgehammer, you can't control the test results, but you can control how you meet the challenge. Look at someone like Alex Trebek, who faced pancreatic cancer with grace, hosting Jeopardy! Through pain, staying true to his purpose. That's courage and temperance in action. You don't need to be a TV icon to do this. Try this. If you're battling illness, pick one small act of courage daily. Maybe it's showing up for therapy, asking for help, or just getting out of bed. Write it down, do it, and let it remind you of your strength. What's one courageous step you can take in your health journey today? Career failures can feel like a shipwreck. Your plans smashed, your confidence adrift. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." Imagine you've been laid off or your startup just tanked. It stings, no question. But Stoicism asks you to check your virtues. Are you acting with wisdom, learning from what went wrong? Or temperance, staying calm instead of lashing out? Think of Oprah Winfrey, fired early in her career as a news anchor. She didn't let that define her. She pivoted, leaned into her strengths, and built an empire. When you hit a professional wall, try this. Take a notebook and write one lesson from the failure, one action to rebuild, and one virtue to guide you, like courage to pitch again. It's a map out of the wreckage. What's one lesson a recent failure can teach you? Loss cuts deep like a storm that uproots everything familiar. Seneca wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." When you lose someone, a parent, a partner, a friend, the grief can feel like it'll swallow you. The Stoic move isn't to suppress it but to channel it through virtue. Justice might mean honoring their memory by living their values. Courage might mean facing the empty chair at the table. I think of Cheryl Strayed, who in Wild hiked through grief after losing her mother. She didn't run from the pain, she used it to find herself. Try this. Create a small ritual for someone you've lost, like planting a flower or sharing a story about them. Ask, how can I live in a way that carries their light forward? What's one way you can honor someone's memory through your actions? In a world that's always buzzing, endless emails, doom scrolling, pressure to perform, Stoicism is your shield. Epictetus said, "Don't let the force of an impression knock you off your feet. Just say to it, 'Hold on, let me see who you are.'" If you're overwhelmed, check for temperance. Are you overcommitting, saying yes to everything? Someone like Arianna Huffington, who burned out before building Thrive Global, would tell you to prioritize ruthlessly. Try this. For 1 week, say no to one thing that drains you, a meeting, a favor, a mindless habit. Use that time to reflect. What's one thing I can do to align with my values? That's how you forge clarity in the chaos. What's one no you can say to reclaim your focus? Stoicism is about wrestling with life's challenges, not dancing around them. It's seeing the forge, feeling the heat, and choosing to shape something enduring, guided by wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Every moment tests your virtues. How will you answer? For Test their reactions to your success. Life's like a tightrope. Every step tests your balance, and the wind of other people's opinions can shake you if you let it. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, knew this struggle. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. When you're navigating a world of deadlines, diagnoses, or personal losses, Stoicism teaches you to steady yourself by focusing on what's yours to control: your reactions, your choices, your purpose. Let's dive into testing reactions to your success, a Stoic tool for seeing people's true colors. Seneca said, "The good things which belong to prosperity are to be wished, but the good things that belong to adversity are to be admired." When you share a win, a promotion, a fitness goal, a creative breakthrough, watch how others respond. A true ally lights up with you. Someone less secure might deflect or diminish it. Think of someone like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who built his empire from wrestling to Hollywood. He's talked about cutting out people who couldn't cheer his rise, echoing the Stoic call to surround yourself with those who lift you up. If your colleague brushes off your new role with a "that's cool, but," or your friend shifts the convo to their own drama, that's a signal. Try this. Next time you hit a milestone, share it with one person and note their reaction. Do they ask questions, smile genuinely, or go quiet? Then ask, who in my circle truly supports my growth? If someone's reaction stings, consider a calm, direct talk, or distance. Who's one person you can test this with today? Facing a health crisis is like walking through a fog, disorienting, heavy, isolating. Epictetus said, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." But crying doesn't mean giving up. It means acknowledging the fog and choosing your steps anyway. Look at Robin Roberts, the Good Morning America anchor who battled cancer twice. She leaned into her faith and discipline, showing up for chemo and work with equal resolve. That's Stoic courage, acting despite fear. If you're dealing with illness, you can't control the disease's path, but you can control your daily fight. Try this. Pick one small, intentional act each morning, like stretching for 5 minutes, eating something nourishing, or saying one thing you're grateful for. It's like planting a seed in the fog. It grows clarity over time. What's one small act you can commit to today to face your health challenge? When your career takes a hit, like missing a big client or getting ghosted after an interview, it's like a wave knocking you off your board. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be like the cliff against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm." You can't control the client's choice or the job market, but you can control how you climb back up. Consider someone like Howard Schultz, who grew Starbucks after being rejected by banks over 200 times. He didn't curse the rejections, he refined his pitch. When you face a professional setback, try this. Take 10 minutes to write down what you learned from the loss and one action to move forward. Maybe emailing a new contact or tweaking your approach. It's not about ignoring the wave but learning to surf it. What's one action you can take to ride out a recent career setback? Losing someone you love is like a house with a missing wall, exposed, raw, incomplete. Seneca wrote, "You have buried someone you loved. Now look for someone to love." That doesn't mean replacing them, it means carrying their love forward. Think of Brian Stevenson, the lawyer behind Just Mercy, who channels personal loss into fighting for others. If you're grieving, Stoicism asks you to honor the pain while choosing how to rebuild. Try this. Pick one way to keep your loved one's spirit alive, maybe cooking their favorite recipe or volunteering for a cause they cared about. Then ask, how can I love more deeply because of them? It's a way to rebuild the walls of your heart. What's one way you can carry a loved one's legacy forward today? In a world that's always pulling at you, notifications, expectations, noise, Stoicism is your compass. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." If you're young and chasing dreams or older and seeking peace, define who you want to be. Someone like Ryan Holiday, a modern Stoic, would tell you to cut the clutter and focus on what aligns with your core. Try this. For one day, track where your time goes. Are you scrolling, stressing, or building toward your purpose? Then pick one thing to double down on, maybe a passion project or a quiet moment to think, what do I want to stand for? That's how you find your true north. What's one thing you can focus on to align with your purpose today? Stoicism isn't about shutting out the world's noise or pain. It's about walking the tightrope with focus, choosing who you let in, and deciding how you'll face each gust. Every choice is a step toward who you're meant to be. 5. Embrace a more fatty to see clearly. Life's like a forge, hammering you with challenges, some you see coming, others that blindside you like a sudden storm. The Stoics, like Epictetus, taught us to stand steady. There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. Embracing amor fati, loving your fate, means accepting the hammer's blows, whether it's a betrayal, a health scare, or a dream that falls apart. It's not about liking the pain but choosing to work with it, like a blacksmith shaping iron. Let's talk about amor fati as a lens to see people clearly. Marcus Aurelius said, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." When someone's friendliness feels off, like a coworker who's all smiles in meetings but ghosts you when you need support, don't fight the reality. Love the truth even if it stings. I think of Sheryl Sandberg, who, after losing her husband, wrote an option B about facing hard truths head-on. If a friend only calls when they want a favor, amor fati means saying, "This is who they are," and adjusting your trust. Try this. Next time someone's behavior disappoints you, pause, breathe, and silently say, "I accept this as it is." Then ask, "How can I move forward with clarity?" Maybe it's pulling back or having an honest talk. Who's one person whose actions you can see more clearly by embracing fate? When illness strikes, it's like a wildfire, unpredictable, consuming. Seneca wrote, "Apply reason to difficulties. Harsh circumstances can be softened." You can't control a diagnosis, but amor fati means loving the fight itself. Look at Michael J. Fox, who's lived with Parkinson's for decades. He didn't curse his fate. He built a foundation to fund research, turning pain into purpose. If you're facing a health struggle, try this. Each morning, write one thing you're grateful for despite the pain: a supportive nurse, a good day, a moment of laughter. Then ask, "How can I love this moment even with its flaws?" It's like finding a spark in the ashes. What's one thing you can embrace about your health journey today? A career setback, a missed opportunity, a failed venture, can feel like a ship run aground. Epictetus said, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." Instead of resisting the wreck, amor fati asks you to love it as part of your story. Think of Jeff Bezos, who took Amazon from a garage to a giant, despite early skeptics. When your project flops or you're overlooked for a raise, don't dwell on the "why me." Try this. Write down one thing the failure revealed, maybe a skill gap or a new direction. Then take one step toward it, like signing up for a workshop or pitching a new idea. Ask, "How can this setback shape me for the better?" What's one lesson your latest career hiccup can teach you? Grief is a shadow that lingers, heavy and unyielding. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The universe is transformation. Our life is what our thoughts make it." Losing someone you love, a parent, a sibling, a friend, can feel like part of you is gone. Amor fati doesn't mean pretending it's fine. It means loving the life you still have. Consider Maya Angelou, who turned childhood trauma and loss into poetry that lifted millions. If you're grieving, try this. Pick one way to channel your love for the person you lost, maybe writing them a letter you never send or doing a kind act in their name. Ask, "How can I transform this pain into something meaningful?" It's like planting a seed in barren ground. What's one way you can honor your grief today? In a world that's always pulling you in 1,000 directions, work, social media, endless to-dos, amor fati is your anchor. Seneca said, "Nothing happens to the wise man against his expectation." If you're overwhelmed, love the chaos as a chance to practice focus. Someone like James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, would tell you to build small systems to stay grounded. Try this. For one day, pick one priority, maybe a work task or a moment of stillness, and commit to it fully. At the end, ask, "Did I live this day true to myself?" That's how you carve peace from the noise. What's one priority you can embrace fully today? Stoicism, through amor fati, is about loving the forge's heat, the storm's fury, the shadow's weight. It's seeing life's blows as chances to shape who you are, with every choice a hammer strike towards something stronger. 6. Reflect on their words with negative visualization. Life's a jagged mountain climb. Every step demands focus, and one misstep can send you sliding. The Stoics, like Seneca, understood this. Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. When you're grappling with betrayal, illness, or loss, Stoicism's premeditatio malorum, negative visualization, equips you to face the worst without being blindsided. It's not about dwelling in gloom but preparing your mind like a climber checking their gear. Let's apply negative visualization to relationships. Epictetus said, "It is not things that disturb us, but our interpretation of their significance." When someone's words sting, like a relative saying, "You're so successful, don't forget us little people," pause and imagine the worst motive. Are they subtly undermining you out of jealousy? Or just clumsy with words? This tool isn't about assuming malice but testing possibilities. Think of Angela Merkel, who navigated global politics with cool-headed preparation, always ready for hidden agendas. If a friend's joking comment about your new job feels off, try this. Write down the worst possible intent behind their words, then list one neutral or positive alternative. Ask, what's the most likely truth here and how will I respond? Maybe it's addressing the jab directly or choosing not to share big wins with them. Who's one person whose words you can reflect on with this lens today? When illness looms, it's like a shadow creeping across your path. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Think not so much of what you lack as of what you have." Negative visualization means imagining the worst, say, a worsening condition, while focusing on what you can control. Look at John McCain, who endured years as a POW and later cancer, yet kept his focus on service. If you're facing a health challenge, don't shy away from the fear. Try this. Spend 5 minutes picturing the toughest outcome, then write down one action you can take today, like scheduling a doctor's visit or practicing deep breathing. Ask, what can I do now to prepare for the worst while living well today? It's like packing for a storm without forgetting to live in the sunlight. What's one step you can take to face your health fears head-on? Career setbacks can feel like an avalanche, sudden, overwhelming, burying your plans. Seneca said, "What matters is not how short the time is, but how well you have lived." If you've been passed over for a promotion or your side hustle flops, negative visualization helps you brace for the worst without losing your footing. Think of Reed Hastings, who faced countless rejections before Netflix became a titan. He didn't just hope for success, he planned for obstacles. Try this. After a professional hit, imagine the worst-case scenario, maybe not landing another job for months. Then list one thing you can do to mitigate it, like updating your LinkedIn or reaching out to a mentor. Ask, what's the worst that could happen and how can I prepare for it now? That's how you turn a slide into a controlled descent. What's one action you can take to prepare for a career worst-case scenario? Grief is a chasm, deep and disorienting. Epictetus said, "What harm is it while you are kissing your child to say softly, 'Tomorrow you may die'?" It sounds harsh, but it's about embracing life's fragility. When you lose someone, negative visualization means preparing for the pain of future reminders, birthdays, holidays, while cherishing what remains. Look at Glennon Doyle, who channels personal loss into raw, honest writing that connects millions. Try this. When grief hits, picture a tough moment ahead like an anniversary and plan one way to honor it, maybe visiting a place they loved or sharing a memory with someone. Ask, how can I prepare for this pain while keeping their love alive? It's like mapping a path through the chasm. What's one way you can prepare for a future moment of grief? In a world that's always buzzing, endless notifications, pressure to perform, social noise, negative visualization is your compass. Marcus Aurelius said, "You must consider the worst possible outcome and then act." If you're overwhelmed, imagine the worst, missing a deadline, burning out. Then focus on what you control. Someone like Indra Nooyi, former PepsiCo CEO, thrived by anticipating challenges and prioritizing ruthlessly. Try this. For one day, picture the worst outcome of a current stressor, then pick one small action to counter it, like setting a 30-minute work sprint or saying no to an extra task. Ask, what's the worst that could happen and what's one thing I can do to stay steady? That's how you find your footing on the mountain. What's one stressor you can prepare for today? Stoicism, through negative visualization, is about facing the climb with eyes open, ready for the jagged edges but grounded in what you control. It's not about fear, it's about forging resilience with every step. 7. Cultivate inner strength to rise above. Life's a crucible, melting away illusions and forcing you to confront what's real, pain, betrayal, or the weight of your own doubts. The Stoics, like Seneca, knew this heat. We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than reality. Cultivating inner strength is about forging a core so solid that external noise, whether it's a backstabbing colleague or a crushing setback, can't break you. Is building a shield from within, not to block out the world but to carry you through it. When someone's duplicity stings, like a friend who cheers your success publicly but whispers doubts behind your back, inner strength lets you rise above. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Their agenda isn't your burden. Think of Kobe Bryant, who faced critics and doubters yet stayed laser-focused on his craft, letting his work silence the noise. If a coworker's subtle jabs or a family member's passive-aggressive comments get under your skin, don't let their poison take root. Try this. Each morning, take 5 minutes to write down one value you'll live by today: honesty, kindness, perseverance. Then, when someone's negativity hits, ask, am I living true to my values? If yes, their words are just dust in the wind. What's one value you can anchor to today to shield yourself from others' motives? Facing illness is like standing in a relentless storm, wet, cold, and unyielding. Epictetus said, you have strength enough to bear the misfortunes of others. Use it to bear your own. Inner strength means finding calm amid the downpour. Look at John Kabat-Zinn, who brought mindfulness to medicine, teaching people to find peace even in chronic pain. If you're battling a health issue, you can't stop the rain, but you can choose how you stand in it. Try this. Pick one daily practice to ground you, maybe a minute of deep breathing, a gratitude journal, or a short meditation. Ask, what's one way I can strengthen my mind to face this storm? That small act builds a fortress over time. What's one practice you can start today to stay steady through your health challenges? A career failure, a demotion, a missed deal, can feel like a punch you didn't see coming. Seneca wrote, fire tests gold, suffering tests brave men. Inner strength is the gold that emerges when you focus on what you can refine. Consider Satya Nadella, who transformed Microsoft by embracing challenges rather than fearing them. When your professional world shakes, don't let self-doubt take over. Try this. After a setback, write down one strength you brought to the table, maybe your creativity or work ethic, and one way to use it moving forward, like pitching a new idea or networking with someone new. Ask, how can this failure forge a stronger version of me? That's how you turn a punch into a push forward. What's one strength you can lean into after a recent career hit? Losing someone you love is like a city after an earthquake, crumbled, quiet, forever changed. Marcus Aurelius said, loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. Inner strength doesn't erase grief, it helps you rebuild. Think of Lin-Manuel Miranda, who channels personal loss into art that moves millions, like Hamilton. When grief feels heavy, focus on what you can carry forward. Try this. Choose one small way to honor your loved one each week. Maybe listening to their favorite song or helping someone they cared about. Ask, how can I rebuild my life to reflect their impact on me? It's like laying new bricks in a broken city. What's one way you can honor someone you've lost this week? In a world that's always screaming, deadlines, social media, endless demands, inner strength is your quiet center. Epictetus said, circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself. If you're feeling pulled apart, build a habit that roots you. Someone like Angela Duckworth, with her grit philosophy, would tell you to commit to small, consistent actions. Try this. Set aside 5 minutes each night to reflect on one thing you did well and one thing you'll do better tomorrow. Ask, what's one way I can live more aligned with who I want to be? That reflection is like reinforcing the walls of your mental fortress. What's one small habit you can start to build your inner strength? Stoicism's inner strength is about standing tall in the crucible, not because the heat doesn't burn, but because you've forged a core that can take it. It's choosing to live by your values no matter who or what tries to shake you. Every day is a chance to temper that strength. You've got the tools, Stoicism's battle-tested wisdom to face life's chaos, from heartbreak to career crashes. It's not about dodging the storm, it's about choosing how you stand in it. Start today, pick one of these 7 practices and take action. Write that list, set that boundary, or honor that loss. Your strength is in your choices. Join us on this journey to live with purpose. Hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. Let's keep building resilience together, one step at a time.